Another hot weekend has arrived, and it is not just the temperature. The wildfire smoke's going to hang around. If you want to stay cool, be creative. You know, the children are always wise.
If you want to beat the heat, all I gotta say is probably, so what I do is I put my mom's spray bottle, I fill it up with cold water and put it in the freezer.
Denver's under a weekend heat advisory, and events are already making changes. The kickoff for Summit FC's match against the Utah Royals is moving from 2 tomorrow afternoon to 8 tomorrow night. The Denver Zoo will open early tomorrow at 8 a.m. so visitors can be there during the cooler part of the day. It'll close at 4 p.m. And Denver's rec centers and libraries will open as cooling centers through Sunday, providing water, bathrooms, and a place for people to rest. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Kyle Clark. So, goes without saying, your next door neighbor is going to be hot this weekend. You know which one I'm talking about. But it's going to be your spouse too, the kids, the dog. We are all going to be hot this weekend. 9 News meteorologist Corey Rebenhagen is going to be hot this weekend. It's just what we're dealing with.
I'll at least be hotter than the dog. Yeah, it's going to be scorching hot across the entire state of Colorado tomorrow. Heat advisories in many areas out here in the Grand Valley near Grand Junction, also to the south, extending out into the Arkansas River Valley. Here in the Front Range, almost the entire urban corridor will be covered by heat advisory. 98 to 102 degrees will be the potential temperature, and it'll start out pretty warm. Here's the low temperatures tomorrow morning. 67 in Denver would be 7 degrees warmer than the normal low temperature for this time of year. So that warm temperature in the morning is going to be a good launch pad to get us into the hundos later on in the afternoon. Here's the temperature forecast across the area. Almost the entire eastern half of Colorado has the potential to get into the 100s, 105 out there in Grand Junction, which is a record for them, but our record is 105. We're going for 101 tomorrow. I'll describe that coming up in the full forecast.
Corey, thank you. Aurora police are investigating a hit and run that injured a man in a wheelchair tonight. Happened near the intersection of Colfax and Alton just before 7 o'clock. Police say the man hit was in his 60s. He went to the hospital. We don't know any more about him. Police are now looking for a gray SUV, possibly an Escalade, as they work to find that driver. Around this time last year, Denver announced $100 million for projects designed to revitalize downtown. That money came from taxpayer-backed loans to the Downtown Development Authority. One of the businesses that benefited has already been evicted. As 9 News reporter Spencer Soysher found, the city wants to know where your money went.
Denver has a huge affection and affiliation with the theater and with performing arts.
If you couldn't tell by his stadium announcer voice, Doug Tisdale has dabbled in theater.
A lot over the years, yes.
It's why the chair of the Denver Downtown Development Authority was excited when the DDA offered Steve Wargo and Blair Russell one of its low-cost, taxpayer-backed loans to open DIRT, Denver Immersive Repertory Theater at 15th and Blake.
It was an attractive opportunity.
DIRT never opened. The owners were evicted. Their landlord told us he was paid for just one of the 4 months DIRT owed.
And it's very disappointing that we are where we are today.
Denver's Economic Development Office wants DIRT to come clean about where the money went. In a default letter obtained by 9 News, DEDO says DIRT pulled the full $400,000 loan in one lump sum in January, including more than $52K specifically earmarked for rent. The city gave DIRT a deadline of today to respond to a request for details of how the DDA taxpayer loan money was spent.
The DDA is, by its very nature, a risk-taking entity. If deals could be funded through the private sector, they wouldn't come to the DDA.
Tisdale says this is the first time this has happened to the DDA, which is going to change how it issues loans like this.
Every time we do any deal, we say, what have we learned from this, and how can we improve the process going forward?
For now, there's no theater here, just some dirt and questions about missing money. Spencer Soysher, 9 News.
The owners of the theater and their attorney listed on legal documents didn't respond to us today. We asked the city if it got the requested documents by the end of the business day. Didn't. The city's default letter didn't say what would happen if that deadline passed. Next week, Aurora will become the latest city on the Front Range to consider blocking the development of new data centers. Councilmember Amy Wiles says at Monday's meeting she'll bring forward a proposed 6-month moratorium on data center applications. She thinks this will give the city time to create better regulations. She said the two biggest concerns she hopes to address are keeping data centers from being built too close to homes and limiting water use. The 6-month pause would apply to future data center developments and not to data centers currently in the development process. The Trump administration is planning to roll back regulations for Head Start, the federal program that provides free preschool to low-income families. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj is along now after speaking with a local provider for their perspective on these changes. Shalima?
Good evening. Yeah, Warren Village is a local nonprofit that supports low-income single-parent families, and they certainly do stand to be affected by any sort of change. Right now, they're trying to figure out just how much of an impact it could have on them.
For Ethan Hemming and the team at Warren Village,
right, I think we are taking a curious and a wait-and-see approach.
It's hard to say what kind of impact proposed changes to the Head Start program will actually have.
Could be good, or it could be detrimental to the quality that we've established for many decades with the program.
This week, the Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees Head Start, unveiled proposed reforms.
What we have read so far is that this would be a fairly sweeping change to some of the regulations, specifically lowering the administrative overhead from 15 to 5%, theoretically generating $2 billion that theoretically could go into classrooms.
It claims the changes will expand access and empower parents.
Our concern really is there is a distinguishment between reducing bureaucracy and burden and affecting program quality standards.
Right now, there are about 1,600 Head Start providers across the country.
In a year, we have 16 to 20 kiddos who are qualified for Head Start. That brings in $50,000 to $62,000 a year.
Providing supportive services to families in need. Among the key components of the plan, aligning licensing standards to state early childhood systems.
I think that has been very, very challenging for this organization and many in our community to not know exactly what's coming.
Now, before any changes can take effect, this is, of course, subject to a 60-day public, basically a public comment period. So it is a chance for stakeholders to go and do a deeper dive and then bring forward some feedback. Reporting live, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
An AI-generated YouTube video is spreading false information about property taxes, and it's leading some homeowners in Colorado to call their county assessors looking for a federal tax break that does not exist. The Douglas County Assessor's Office says it's received dozens of calls and emails from seniors asking about a new federal property tax exemption they heard about online. The county assessor says there is no such program.
The most frustrating part about it for me, and probably for any other assessor, is the misinformation. And so these videos are telling people a number of things which aren't true.
Should go without saying, but contact your local assessor's office to verify property tax information rather than relying on the interwebs. Colorado does have a senior property tax exemption program. The extended deadline to apply this year is 1 week from today, August 14th. Tonight, we're waiting for word on 2 people who are on board a firefighting helicopter that went down this morning in Utah. It crashed about 160 miles south of Salt Lake. The chopper was one of 7 working the Widemouth 2 fire in central Utah. Crews had been warned this morning of shifting winds and dry thunderstorms. The feds will investigate what happened, but their response has been slowed because of the conditions.
We're expecting hopefully within the next 24 hours to be able to get into the crash site. We're looking for every opportunity to do that. It's just based on safety of those responders to get there. Unfortunately, right now, the fire conditions are just not allowing that to happen.
Lightning started the Widemouth 2 fire on July 27th. It's burned more than 106,000 acres, about 166 square miles. It has been a devastating year for wildland firefighters, especially here in Colorado. A pilot fighting the Gold Mountain Fire in Ouray County died last month. 56-year-old Nicholas Dale crashed while getting water out of a reservoir in Gunnison County. The cause of that crash is still under investigation. 4 wildland firefighters died from a burnover along Colorado's border with Utah while battling the Snyder Fire. They were assigned to the U.S. Forest Service's Rifle Helitack crew based in Garfield County. A 5th firefighter was hurt and is still recovering. Today, the Bureau of Land Management rescinded the last remaining emergency closures for the Snyder Fire. This reopens all previously closed BLM-managed public land in Mesa County effective today. There is a warning that any visitors need to be careful in the burned area. The Snyder Fire went through more than 30,000 acres, about 47 square miles, and it is almost entirely contained. There are new mandatory evacuations tonight for a fire in southwest Colorado that's been burning for about a month. The fire was first reported on July 9th, about 7 miles northwest of Lake City. Firefighters say in recent days, the hot weather dried out fuels, and that has given the fire the ability to run and increase its spread. The fire is about 8 square miles and 40% contained. Further north in Garfield County, the governor declared a disaster emergency tonight for the 310 fire. It's burned more than 600 acres near Parachutes and starting yesterday. There's some mandatory evacuations on that fire as well, and no containment yet.